So yesterday, I love when a day starts and you think it's going to be one way, and then it becomes something else. At least within the confines of an hour or so. I woke up. We had a super full 4 days of. On Thursday night, we had 3 events we had to go to. On Saturday night, we went to an incredible fashion show at the History Museum here. It was really spectacular. Our models looked beautiful. And then on Sunday, we had a fashion show. Also, we had some things that we had to take care of, and we weren't able to go to church because there was a whole lot of things going on. So I got up, did some reading, watched a message, and went to go turn on the television to my daily, my weekly thing that I love. Jeff and I, we recorded on the DVR because it's just, it never disappoints. CBS Sunday Morning. I was like, oh, I'm going to see what the stories are today. And when I clicked on it, I was like, golf? I was like, are you telling me that my CBS Sunday Morning is being preempted by the Masters tournament? I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but I was watching it and I started to really pay attention to what they were saying, and I said to Jeff, I think that Tiger Woods may be having some major comeback. And the long story short, we kind of went on with our day, kind of doing some things, and then we came back to get ready for the rest of the day. The fashion show was in the afternoon, early, and we were just, like I know the world was, absolutely could not turn the television off, canceled. We had put just enough time that we could grab brunch before we needed to be at the show. And as we started to watch, we were like, we're not leaving. We're gonna watch this before we leave. And for those of you that have seen the sound bites, and for those of you that watched in real time, I'm so thankful that we watched in real time as it unfolded. And we were like talking back and forth, saying, some of you could see that he was talking to himself to the point where there was times where he could audibly kind of see, but then also just the intense focus. And what was he saying to himself in his head as you watched this beautiful thing unfold, and then to see his mother and to see his kids and the woman in his life, his girlfriend. It was just beautiful. And even though I don't know anything about golf, and I'm always like, wow, people really like golf. Like when you're driving by the Top Golf and it's busy all the time, and we have a really good friend who, his daughter is very, on a high competitive level golfer. It's just not something that I know about. But my point is, as all of America and the world probably is talking about, it was a beautiful comeback. It was a redemption moment. It was a beautiful thing to witness. And as they gave more background of how much it had been 11 years. And we all are very sadly aware, in those 11 years, you saw a fall from grace. You witnessed a man go through really hard things personally, really hard things professionally. Yes, was some of it self-inflicted? Yes, as in all of us, in one degree or another. Failure and disappointment. At the end of the day, if you wind it all down, oftentimes it is self-inflicted, sometimes it isn't, but either way, we all go through things. And having it be this time of Easter week, and it taking place on Palm Sunday, it was just beautiful. And it's so symbolic for all of us in our lives that it's never too late unless we make it too late. and that there's something to be said for a wilderness season, a season that doesn't make sense, or of course now on social media there's memes, there's all these different things, and now there's a video that's out that was being shared last night, and I sent it to Jeff, and we were watching the reality of, if you haven't seen it, I asked if we could add it to the very end. It's literally a 60-second clip of all these golf experts saying how he is never going to be the same, he should call it a day, he is never going to be what he was, etc., etc., etc. And you see him watching and listening to what everyone is saying. And it's different, obviously, to be a celebrity and be in a fishbowl and have the world talking about you. But again, to varying degrees, maybe in your office, maybe in your group of friends, maybe in your family, you deal with that. And in our journey with our models, we have seen and always talk about, and I share on this podcast over and over and over, that so much of what is possible and so much of what you're capable of lies within what you believe is possible. I like Rachel Hollis a lot. She's kind of an inspiration to me because of her books and her speaking, and that's something that is really on my heart as part of my destiny in this new season, continuing to do what we do. And she shared yesterday that, or maybe it was this morning on her social media, that 3 years ago she wrote down that her dream was, one of her goals was to be on the same stage as Tony Robbins and speak. She wrote that goal down 3 years ago. And the picture that went along with the post was a billboard of her and Tony Robbins speaking. Announcement of a speaking engagement that they were doing. The power of our thoughts, the power of choosing to push out the white noise of people talking. I think Jeff and I have learned through some hard things, and I'm thankful for this, to really not care what people say or think. That it's our journey, it's what we need to do. We've experienced that on personal levels, we've experienced that on professional levels, and I think that that's why the world loves witnessing Tiger Woods rise up again out of the quote-unquote ashes. I did it again. I can't quit. I can't quit with the air quotes. I don't know where that came from. I also, yesterday when I woke up, I watched Carl Lentz talk about, he was talking about, he has a great book called Own the Moment, and he was sharing just a lot of wisdom about that, and in the confines of it, he talked about owning the season that you're in. And so sometimes a season is a season where you're on top of the world, and sometimes there's a season that is hard. There was a period of time between what was our biggest professional disappointment, of having a top model that we had done everything possible to support and be the best mother agents that we could be. And I know for a fact it was exceptional what we did and the sacrifice, and it was a part of our goal, because for many years we were like, we're going to discover the next American supermodel, and then we did, and then we were on this intense ride from beginning to end, 7 years. And when that went away, I remember there being a period of time, I have such a vivid recollection of sitting on our front porch, staring out into the street. Have you ever had those times where you can't even talk, or it's hard even to wrap your thoughts around mentally where you're at, emotionally where you're at? It was one of those moments, and I remember, and goes against the grain of my nature, I remember thinking, we'll never, ever be able to get another model on the cover and in the pages of Vogue. Like, I remember going, how is it even possible? It took us so long to get to this point. How is it going to be just our little small company that we could ever do that again? And then you kind of move on with your life, and we went through this. It was about 3 years before we had another kind of meteoric model really pop off. And again, bearing in mind, I'm telling you, it took about 3 years from that point, so it wasn't like some, and that's when Grace Hartzel literally just landed. She'd been doing really well, but there were also kind of these times where it wasn't, making a whole lot of sense, and we would have these long heart-to-hearts with her, and then all of a sudden, there I go again. I can't help it. I'm doing air quotes. She got Saint Laurent, Calvin Klein, Dior. It just kept going. Then it was a Vogue cover after a Vogue cover, and it's continued to be really incredible. And then from that point, we've had so many other models doing so exceptionally well. And 20 years in, we literally feel like we're just getting started. But the point is, there was this period in there that we felt like, did we just already experience the top of the mountain and it's not going to come back? Which I would think a million. How many times did Tiger Woods think that? How many times have you thought that something has already happened? Or and it takes a lot of resilience and determination and not listening to the naysayers, not listening to friends and family who were telling you, again, back to last week's topic, that something is unrealistic. How many times did people tell Tiger Woods, that's not realistic? I can't even imagine. And we have a choice in this life. And I would rather fall on my face trying than throw in the towel. And we've seen countless times people just throwing in the towel. There's a beautiful thing that happens in a wilderness season, a season that doesn't really make sense. For me, my faith grew stronger, my vision grew clearer. It also gave us the right perspective that we always should have had. It recalibrated our thinking, and it became more balanced, and it became truer to who we were. And in the long run, I know that has impacted the models that we have now in a more powerful and tangible way. And it wouldn't have happened otherwise. I've asked Jeff that when we share this on the video, I want to scan the wall and show you how many Vogue covers are on it. Not because of just the accolades or patting us on our back, but it's a reminder of, don't set limitations on what's possible. Certainly don't put a time frame on it. It took Tiger Woods 11 years. Those 11 years were going to pass by anyway. And now he's at this place where I can't wait to read from his perspective what he learned and what it took in that 11 years to get to this point. Because that's really the victory. That's really the victory. And for us to have gone through great times and challenging times and everything in between, to look at the wall of all these covers and campaigns, and honestly, there's so much more that should be on this wall. We just haven't had time to put it on the wall. And to know how much more is going to be on the wall in the future, just because you don't give up. Our son shared that video that I passed on to him on his Facebook, and he basically said, it's all about persistence. Persistence never fails. Even if it's not ultimately the end goal, no matter what, you're going to gain 5,000 times more. So I hope that you find this encouraging. I hope that you find your coming out of the ashes redemption moments, and that we all learn not to set limitations on ourselves, because the sky is the limit. I'll talk to you next Monday.
Can Tiger Woods compete with the Justin Thomases, Jordan Spieths, Dustin Johnsons? No, is the short answer.
I've been trying to get this question a lot. Do you think he'll return his previous form?
No.
Do you think he stands a chance of being the Tiger Woods we once knew?
No.
No. Here's what's going to happen. He is not ever going to win another tournament.
I don't think we'll ever see Tiger Woods win a golf tournament again.
He's showing up at these tournaments pretty much knowing that he's not going to be there.
The short game is gone. His health is gone.
The next press release Tiger Woods should release should be, "I'm retiring."
I have considered him now for the last 5-6 years a former golfer.
You're washed. Just give up while you're ahead. Retire with some dignity.
Tiger Woods that we all knew, he will never, ever be that guy again.